Just before we get to the film a little bit, I'm curious how you both ended up here working in film. Um, was was writing music for the movies something that was on your list of things you wanted to do as a kid or when you were younger?
Um, Sorry, my English voice is just here. I'm sorry.
Translator.
Euh, moi, j'ai fait beaucoup de choses. J'ai commencé dans un chœur d'enfant quand j'étais petit. Donc, j'ai commencé par la voix. Ensuite, j'ai fait du piano, du violoncelle, de la percussion, de l'orchestration, de l'harmonie, de la direction d'orchestre, plein de choses, de la danse. Et en fait, petit à petit, le fait de travailler pour le cinéma a été une sorte de catalyseur de tout ça. C'est-à-dire, ça m'a permis de mettre un petit peu tous ces ingrédients dans une discipline, qui était écrire pour le cinéma.
So I've done a lot of things actually. I was already in a choir when I was a child. I played piano, I played cello, I played percussion. I arranged, I orchestrated. So in a way, the movie was what brought all this together. The movies, working in cinema, was a place where I could have a catalyst to bring all those different experiences into one place.
Well, I'm a solo singer. I started, I spent 25 years writing songs about mainly my life, emotions, and as a ritual to go on in my life. I've worked for the Little Prince, writing 3 songs with Hans Zimmer, and I sang in Ratatouille, Les rêves des amoureux, for Michael Giacchino. But the rest of my time, was dedicated to songwriting and singing and performance. But that experience was very challenging, very stimulating, because there are fiction characters in a political background that is real. And I really love that, because it made me feel that I could do something about the world and chant the world, talk about reality that a lot of people share, The only thing that was missing is performance for me as a performer. But I think knowing what performance is, how, having that experience of concerts and performance, I think nourished the understanding of the scenes.
Clement, I know you worked on Annette. When I found that out, it made perfect sense, because when I saw this film for the first time, I thought it would make a great double feature with Annette, not even knowing that you'd worked on that. But there's a real shared DNA in some ways. I'm curious, what did you learn on that experience that you were able to bring to this film?
Sur Annette, Léos Carax avait une approche assez différente au départ. Il voulait quelque chose d'entièrement live on set. Donc tout ce que vous voyez à l'écran est totalement vrai. Tous les orchestres sont joués et enregistrés en live sur le plateau. Toutes les performances vocales sont enregistrées en live sur le tournage. Quand j'ai rencontré Jacques, c'était l'inverse. Il disait, moi je m'en fous du live, je veux un playback intégral avec même des fonds verts et tout en studio. Voilà. Après, il s'est rendu compte de la puissance que ça pouvait être de voir un acteur incarner vraiment une chanson en chantant vraiment, même avec des difficultés, des fragilités. Donc petit à petit, il a changé sa manière de voir les choses et on a fait un petit peu de vrai, un petit peu après le tournage. Mais pour moi, je pense que c'était important de faire les choses dans cet ordre-là, d'être d'abord intégré dans l'équipe de Annette via un rôle un peu plus technique, comme orchestrateur, arrangeur, pour un petit peu observer comment on fabrique une comédie musicale avant d'être propulsé, avant d'avoir la chance d'être moi-même compositeur pour Emilia Pérez.
So actually, Leo Carax for Annette had a completely different approach. He wanted everything live. Everything on set was there. Everything you see on screen, it's real. There's a real orchestra playing. There's live performances. Everything is happening in real time, live. So Jacques had it actually planned the exact opposite way. He's like, I don't care about live. I want everything with playback. I want a green screen. But actually, as we were shooting, slowly he did sort of realize there was a special quality. If the actors are singing, there's a certain fragility that brings to, to the set, to the film. So little bit by bit, he actually changed it, and we sort of ended up, taking the best of both worlds and meeting it in the middle.
So getting into this, how did Jacques?
Actually, I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
I'm so
he was
sorry.
still speaking about his own experience. I just had to turn the page there. So so it was actually great to have the experience from Annette also in the more technical department, right? It was more the not the composer, but the arranger, and I did the orchestration. So that actually allowed me to really get to know the technical side of it and prepared me in a way to be actually then the composer on Emilia Pérez.
Thank you. So how did you get connected to Jacques? Did he reach out to one of you?
SMS.
SMS?
Text message.
Very modern. What was that first text message?
Hello, I'm Jacques.
I'm a film director.
Director. I was like, ah bon? And I would love to make a musical. Some friend of mine told me that maybe you can be the guy. I was like, okay. No, it was the beginning, and then we had a lot of dinner and parties. And he was like, okay, I can write script, but I don't know how to write lyrics for the songs. So Camille joined the team, and we were four at the beginning. Jacques, Thomas Bidguin, his collaborator, Camille, and me, writing the songs and the script together.
And well, from what I understand, it was maybe conceived as an opera at first. Was it ever going to be a stage opera, or was it always going to be a film?
It might become a Broadway show.
We'd love to.
Yeah, I think for Jacques, he related to opera more than to musicals. Today, still, he says that he hates musicals. So I guess, for him, imagining his film as an opera was more productive and interesting. For a while, I mean, we kind of knew it would be a film, but he kept asking us, so do you think it's still an opera or is it a film? Well, we think it's going to be a film. It could be an opera. And then one day he really asked, we told him, we think you should make a film, because it's your thing. So that lasts maybe like 6 months of writing, still considering it would become an opera. And it's still a little bit of an opera in the way that it's very phantasmagoric and it couldn't exist. We couldn't believe that tale if it wasn't a musical, If it wasn't sung, I think we wouldn't believe. That singing makes the unbelievable believable.
Yeah. Did you talk about any film musicals that were a source of inspiration or a kind of model for what you wanted to achieve with this?
Yes, we watched few musicals like Cabaret, Hair, Chanson d'amour.
Chanson d'amour is de François de
Honoré.
Christophe Honoré. Set in the 10th arrondissement in Paris, very local. Yeah, for many reasons there were Little. It was more documentary. But I think the main inspiration was the story, and we wanted it not to sound like any other musical. That was the main goal. And I think it's the Netflix slogan.
On a vu beaucoup de comédies musicales. On a vu beaucoup de comédies musicales différentes, et à chaque fois, celles qui sont quand même ressorties, c'était des comédies musicales qui avaient un fond sociétal, politique. On s'est retrouvés là-dessus.
So we watch a lot of musicals, and they're very the amount of social and musicals, political musicals that kind of were important to us.
So you were writing the script and the lyrics sort of at the same time with Jacques. how did you determine what needed to be sung, where songs should come into the story?
Intuitively, either a phrase that sounded good, or something that came from the character's heart that needed to be said, or boring informations that we would like to be more entertaining, like for example, todo y nada. Que tengo que perder, you know, Rita's second song. It's like it's her self-portrait, you know, where she's at in her life. It would have been boring, like as a scene, yeah. So it mixes that and wow, who am I gonna meet? Prince Charming? I mean, every song has a different story. I mean, vaginoplasties, I am like a little too commercial to be true. For vaginoplastia, then the face-to-face with Wasserman lady helps understanding, you know, why we choose that guy. Then there's Deseo, you know, this is Emilia's hymn as, you know, swan song. And then there's Por Casualidad that helps, you know, understanding what has been going for 4 years before they meet again. And then there's, I mean, you know, they all, I can go through all the songs, but they all have different reasons to be, you know.
But of course, you're working in a Spanish language from the beginning. So how did you do your usual artistic process when working with a different language?
Most of the time I write in French and I write in English. I think in English. I can think and I can dream in English. I learned Spanish at school. So when Jacques contacted me, I wasn't thinking and dreaming in Spanish, but he didn't care. You know, I just came to his place. He knew my work, and I think he trusts my imagination, my sense of poetry, and Jacques is very empirical, so he wants to start working with someone and sees what happens. No, that's how we. So he really gave me carte blanche. Like he didn't. The feedback on the songs were mainly on atmosphere. He didn't like go through the words and say, "What did you mean?" No, it was really talking about the scene, and when I needed more material, and when I needed to understand better what was going on, I would ask him. And writing in Spanish was a treat because, for me, languages are like musical instruments. I love languages. I'm up for writing in any language of the world. It doesn't scare me. It excites me. So I made sure every word was musical and sounded genuine. I worked with a language consultant called Carla Aviles, who's Mexican, and really helped me making it genuine, culturally genuine. And I worked on the accent before meeting the cast, on the the language itself, the way it, all the accentuations, and so it was there musically Mexican, like in terms of language.
In terms of musical style, did you discuss this having a particular style? Did you research Mexican folk or pop music? How did you decide on the style?
No, we didn't want to be neo Mexican, kind of musicians. So it was most how could we feel linked with the story and the characters and the emotions. As the music had been written during the script construction, everything is woven together. So the music shifts along with the characters too. It helps telling us about the characters, about their stories, and the story is about emancipation. All the characters are evolving a lot, transforming. So the music, obviously, as she shifts along with them.
Sorry,
my English is it's so-so. The music is exploring many genres too. So it's very trance genre too.
We listened to some Mexican music, but it was, for me, it was more like a feel, like to connect with a feel more than copying or being like musically inspired. I think what's magic with language is that language brings authenticity to music because it evokes people, the culture, the landscapes, the birds, the trees, the flowers, the sounds. You know.
Yeah, the Mexicanity in music is mostly the language and the sounds too. You know, the guns.
Cities, yeah,
the
the guns, not only.
colchones.
Yes.
The what? What? No, bah,
No. Je veux dire, street sounds and everything has been shot in comment est-ce qu'on dit studio? C'est pas studio.
On a soundstage.
Yeah, on a stage, and it's incredible how you feel there because of all the soundscapes and the language.
Yeah, it shocked me to learn it was on a stage. Did you you wrote all these songs before it was cast, correct? So how did that change when you suddenly have a professional pop singer, maybe non-professional singers? Did you have to change the songs to accommodate the casting?
Yeah, it was the third step of the construction, of the musical construction, because all the pre-existing arrangements and production was sung by Camille for all the characters. And then when we met the cast, the music shaped on their image, because of their energy and mostly for Zoé, actually, for El Mal.
Which we'll watch in a minute, so we can talk about that.
Okay.
Let's go ahead and start watching some of this, and we can react to it, which is great. So we're going to open with the opening scene, I believe, Subiendo, and then we'll talk about it. How did you want to open the film? What mood did you want to set with the score right at the beginning there?
En l'occurrence, la construction de l'ouverture du film s'est faite à la fermeture de la construction de la musique, je dirais. C'est probablement ce qui est apparu en tout dernier dans le processus d'écriture musicale. Ce qui est peut-être intéressant à mentionner dans l'écriture du score, donc tout ce qui n'est pas des chansons, c'est qu'on a mis beaucoup de temps à trouver la couleur du score. On avait toutes ces chansons, on avait toutes les images, et la construction du score s'est faite après le tournage, au moment du montage image. On a essayé beaucoup de choses, des choses rythmiques, des choses un peu dramatiques, des choses au contraire qui prenaient beaucoup de distance. Et finalement, le matériau qui nous a convaincus était à nouveau la voix. Donc ça rajoute un plan vocal à toute cette musique. Et dans cette ouverture, on commence par le troisième plan, qui est un peu les chœurs chimériques ou séraphiques, comme Jacques aimait les appeler, qui viennent dans des moments de transition, qui viennent faire écho à ce qu'on vient d'entendre ou ce qu'on vient de voir, qui peuvent aussi préparer au drame ou à la suite. Et voilà, donc ça crée trois plans sonores. Il y a ce plan des chœurs qui sont chantés par Camille, le plan des chansons qui sont incarnées par les actrices et les dialogues parlés.
So actually, what we hear in the opening was actually the last piece of music that we wrote. We wrote the beginning at the end, and so when it comes to writing the score, and when I talk about the score, I don't mean the songs. It's everything that is not the songs that we hear, right? They sort of bring the color to the film, to the images, to the songs, and we were trying many different things to kind of figure out what that score should be. We tried dramatic things, we tried all kinds of different materials, different instrumentation, and we came to a point that it was really, again, about the voice, right? That's choirs, it's this third level that we have of voices that are in the film and that create here in the beginning sort of this chimeric energy and this kind of an echo of what is about to happen on the screen. It is actually preparing us for what we will be seeing. And so throughout the film, we have these three layers, if you will, of voices, right? We have the voices in the choir that is all Camille who sang. And then we have the songs, which different characters sing. And then we have the dialogue. So we have, you know, it's all comes together in three different layers of sound, of voice.
And we needed at the start what Jacques called the ground and the sky, the floor and the ceiling. We got Subiendo is like sacred music, but it's sung in a very raw way, almost harsh and with electronic effects. It used to be in Latin, and then we put it, of course, in Spanish again. But I try to make it sound almost like a mass, like Latin, you know. And then there's there's a colchones, that anticipating the street, you know, the loudspeaker. This is the ground. This is the choir of Mexico, and Jacques loved that kind of it. We needed a cry, comment dire, un cri.
A scream.
We needed a scream to start the movie. A scream of anger, of rage, of survival.
And we created a link, a bond between the seraphic choir and the grounded
And the choir, the people.
The people.
And I believe you bring back that opening choir when the children first meet Emilia, right?
When the children first.
You bring those voices
Subiendo
back.
again, with lyrics are changed and anyway, there's a change of lyric in orchestration, and it announces the second act.
Yeah.
And the fall of Emilia. Actually, it's a nice moment, but in the lyrics, it announces the fall of Emilia.
It's beautiful. Let's watch another one. This is the first real number sung by one of the primary cast members, our introduction to Rita. This is El Allegato.
Can we get some water, please? A little water. Thank you.
Some water. Now, you are kind of going in a more Mexican sound with that a little bit, to my ears.
Ngoni is from
African.
Mali.
Yeah.
Donk,
I don't know,
that
maybe it's the dum 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 dum. It's kind of bolero. I don't know exactly the word. But actually, we have a small acoustic band, just double bass, piano, cello, playing beats, dum dum dum, and a ngoni. It's a kind of African small guitar. But maybe the language.
We're all related.
Yeah, it's the first song we did actually as a test for
it's a
Jacques.
test.
Sorry.
It was a test.
It was a test.
With all the vocals done by you? Well, a
Yeah. Right, that's right. Yeah, I did all the vocals on the demo, not there. I'm in the choir somewhere. What I was listening back to it and thinking it's incredible. That song has never changed since January 2020, and Jacques has never given us any feedback on
The
that.
sound of the test.
It's just
You
there
got the job.
and stayed there, and the orchestration, everything,
Yeah, everything.
the lyrics, nothing to say. Yeah.
Amazing. In terms of your score, the film feels very neon to me, if that makes sense. Fluorescent. I mean, bright, electric, and
Okay.
and the score feels that way to me too. It which obviously you're using electronics and processed voices and. How would you describe the score for this film overall? Or what did you want the score to sound like overall?
It's both neon and raw too, because the vocals are quite, and the breaths.
It's both world, you know. It's plastic world, cold world, and neon, and raw and Ducol and very classical world. I love, you know, Johan Johansson. And there is something maybe like that in a very with humility, but you know, the first subiendo part is kind of classical writing, but with many effect on the voice, so it reflects maybe the humanity kind of hard to say in English. En français aussi d'ailleurs. Non, je dirais qu'il y a à la fois le côté très écrit, très touchant, très sensible, mais qu'on met dans une espèce de carapace de plastique. Et c'est souvent la société dans laquelle on est, je trouve, aujourd'hui.
So it's something very sensitive, very organic, but it's yet stuck in sort of like a plastic box.
Well, so you say it might go to Broadway. That would be great. The soundtrack is out now. Somehow, I think it's a test of genius that you somehow made lyrics about refrigerators poetry, and that
There's another version on the original soundtrack that goes even further that you need to check out. Another one, like a bonus version of that called Jonas, I like very much.
and that's great, and that you created a very danceable song about laviginoplasty. That's very impressive. So you turned what could have been ridiculous, absurd, or just really strange into something extremely beautiful and mesmerizing. So bravo. Thank you for coming, and thank you all for
everyone.
being here.
Thank you. Merci.
Thank you to our translator, Annette.
Merci beaucoup.
De rien.
Enjoy the rest of the festival.